How's it going, everybody? Today we're going over the slang expression, armpit. And I'm not referring to what's under your arm. I'm referring to the slang expression armpit, which is a disgusting, nasty, dirty place to be, to live in, to stay at. That's what an armpit is. Think of a very dirty, nasty motel that you may stay at when you go traveling. That would be an armpit. So, armpit can apply to motels, it can apply to your apartment, your house, it can apply even to the city that you live in if you do not like it. That is the slang definition for this word. It's an unpleasant place to be at, to live in. That's what an armpit is. Now we're going to start off first with this and that. So quick review, this and that, these are demonstrated pronouns. This is going to mean something that is nearby, that is near you, or something that is in the moment. Um, that is going to be something that may be away from you or something that may refer to something already known or previously mentioned. Now we're going to use apartment. So if I say this apartment's an armpit, this apartment's an armpit, it means I'm in the apartment right now. I'm looking around. The apartment is nasty and dirty. There's roaches crawling around and spiders. I would say this apartment's an armpit. It's a nasty, dirty place. Um, if I want to add emphasis to that, I can say this apartment's an absolute armpit. Makes my statement stronger. I can also use such. This apartment's such an armpit. Now, we can use this to apply to a hotel, a house, a motel, or just a general place. We can also use that, but remember that is going to be something that's away from us. So that apartment's an armpit. That apartment's an absolute armpit. That apartment's such an armpit. That, something far away. That apartment's an armpit. Now we can also use possessives to describe the place we live in. So let's say my apartment's. My apartment's an armpit. I'm referring to my apartment as being a dirty, nasty place. If it's you, I'd say your apartment's an absolute armpit. You can use the emphasis. Or if it's somebody you know, a man that you know, and he lives in a very bad apartment, you say, his apartment's an absolute armpit. Now, in the present tense, let's say we live in an apartment that we think is an armpit. It's a dirty, horrible place. I can say, I live in an armpit. I live in such an armpit. I live in an absolute armpit. If it's somebody you know, you live in an armpit. So this is the present tense. It means we are currently living in a place that we consider an armpit. Now we can also do present progressive tense, so living or staying. Um, Now living is to live or to live somewhere. This carries a connotation of permanence. So to live somewhere, this would be like your home. You live at home. Now, stay, the verb stay is something that's much more temporary. So you stay at a motel, you stay at a hotel, but you live in an apartment, you live at home. So I wanted to address that first before we get to this next section. So the present progressive, again, it means it's happening now, it's current. So I'm living in. that armpit. So I use that armpit. So the apartment that maybe I consider an armpit, it's over there. So I live in that armpit. Sometimes you'll be telling people where you live at. You want to use that. I live in that apartment. If your apartment's dirty and nasty, you want to say I live in that armpit. Now, if you are in your apartment or if you are in the apartment building, you can say, I'm living, I'm living in this, I'm living in this armpit. I'm living in this armpit. I'm living in that armpit. So this and that, this will be, of course, nearby and close. That will be far away. Now staying. Again, staying does not have a permanent connotation. This is going to be more for hotels and motels. So if your friend asks you where you're staying at, you can say, you know, you're staying at a motel that you think is an armpit. You can say, I'm staying at that armpit. I'm staying at that armpit. If you're near the hotel or motel, you can say, I'm staying at this armpit. So let's go back over it again. Armpit is just a very, it's an unpleasant place to be at. That's what the expression means. So if you have an apartment that's an armpit, you say, I live in such an armpit. I live in an absolute armpit, or I'm living in this armpit. Um, so that really concludes the lesson today. So I do hope that you're not living in an armpit. And yeah, it's no fun to live in an armpit. So that is it for today. So thank you very much for listening and have a great one.